Hello and welcome to this webinar on fire detection solutions for pharma manufacturing plants organized by Express Pharma and powered by Bosch. I am Lakshmipriya Nair, Assistant Editor, Express Pharma. Today, we'll explore how Bosch's fire detection systems can help overcome the unique fire challenges in the pharma industry. Our expert speaker today is A.R. Rajkumar, Product Marketing Manager for Fire Systems South Asia, Bosch Building Technologies. He'll share his insights on overcoming the challenges of fire safety in pharma industry. But before we hand it over to our expert, let me quickly take you through the house rules. This webinar is being broadcasted live. It will be available on demand on our website after it is over. We will have a round of Q&A at the end of the webinar. You can send your questions during the webinar using the questions box. We will have poll questions in between. If you face any technical issues, please try to refresh your browser and use the questions box to reach out to us. We'll respond to the same. If you have any further questions, please reach out to us using the questions box. Now I'll introduce the speaker. Our speaker today has over 17 years of diverse experience in Bosch, working in both B2B and B2C business environments. He started his career in Bosch in the year 2005 as a graduate engineer trainee and has held several roles in sales and product marketing. He is a subject matter expert in fire systems with over 12 years of specialization. His wide experience covers working on medium to large scale projects, cutting across verticals of manufacturing, energy, commercial, and government. Now, before I hand it over to our speaker, we have a poll coming up on our screens. Please do participate. It will stay on your screens for 30 seconds. So now we have a poll on our screen. How many pharma manufacturing plants do you have in India? The choices are as follows, 1 or 2. The second choice is 3 to 5. The third choice is 6 to 10 and more than 10. Please do participate. It will stay on your screen for 30 seconds. Can we have the results, please? So the results are as follows. Over 30% of our audience has said that they have 1 or 2 pharma manufacturing plants. Over 27% have said that they have 3 to 5. 6% have said they have 6 to 10 manufacturing plants in India. And 36% of our audience have informed us that they have more than 10 plants in India. So these are the results of our polls. Mr. Rajkumar, I hand it over to you. Please take it on.
Okay. Namaste, and thank you so much now for taking time out. All the participants here in this call. It means a lot to us on the day when we have this India-Sri Lanka World Cup happening. And of course, you're working from the office as well. So it is very important that you took this time out to join this webinar. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us. Myself, Rajkumar. I work as product marketing manager for business unit Fire Systems, looking after India and SAARC as a region. I'm also accompanied by Mr. Jignesh Ora, who's the sales director for business unit Fire in this call. He would also join us towards the end. He's there in the call, but he would also talk to you towards the end when we have this Q&A. And we also have Ms. Juliana from Germany, from Bosch Germany, who's also in this call as well. Yeah. Of course, the topic for the day, as you're aware, we see it on the screen as well, overcoming the challenges of fire safety in the pharmaceutical industry. We have roughly about, say about 3:45, which means about, say 40 minutes to talk about this topic. This 40 minutes is too little. So whatever we can talk about, whatever we can address today, we will do that. But definitely, we would definitely want to get in touch with you as and when we have an opportunity to talk to you on the requirement of yours, to present our products even more in detail, to talk to you of what we have to offer and how it is better than the traditional systems that we have in the industry today. Yeah. Okay, I'm just switching slides. And on the second slide, here you see a picture of a Bosch office here on the screen. And then we have some text on the right. This is to say that Bosch has spent about 100 years in this country, India. Yeah. It was in 2022 when Bosch completed 100 years of 100 years in India. Of course, Bosch, many would be aware that Bosch is very, very strong in the mobility space. When I say mobility, it is to do with automobiles. I'm sure you would have come across spark plugs, for example, the ABS, or let's say the ECUs in the car or the diesel pumps, for example. All this form a part of mobility solutions. But there is also a non-mobility business in Bosch, where we come from. We come from this business unit called Building Technologies. This Building Technologies has products like this. So this Building Technologies is the division where we come from, and this Building Technologies have products like fire alarm systems, video, which is CCTV, access control, public address system, conference and intrusion systems. So this is part of safety, security, and communication range of products, which falls under this business unit, or let's say non-mobility solutions, called Building Technologies. Yeah. And there is also a reason why we wanted to talk to you on this picture. The building that you see here on the left and on the right that you see here is something that we call as smart buildings. Yeah, this was built, and it was inaugurated, opened by 2022, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 2022, and it was Honorable Prime Minister, who opened these buildings, who inaugurated these buildings. Yeah, and this is special to us. The reason being, this is smart buildings. We've been talking of smart city, smart campuses, smart buildings in India since 2019, if I'm not wrong, or 2018 roughly. But there are not too many smart buildings. But here we take pride. This is a thought that we sort of had for us in 2019, and today we have a building which is really smart. And we do a tour of this campus for all our customers. So in case if you are interested to see why this building is called smart, right from the point of entry, you would see everything smart here. We've been doing a tour of these buildings to our customers. In case if someone is interested, please do let us know, and we'll be able to do a tour to you. And using this tool, we will also be able to showcase to you our products, which is fire, CCTV, access control, and public address system. And we'll tell you how this product can make this building really smart. Yeah. Now, since we know that Bosch is 100 years in India, can you take a guess of how old is this business, Fire? Fire celebrated 100 years in 2020. Yeah, we started this business in 1920, somewhere in Germany, and we are in 2023. We're about 103 years old, roughly. Yeah, in this business. So there are very few manufacturers of fire alarm systems who have this experience to talk about. So before I really talk about the products, before we talk about what is it for you, for your offices, for your buildings, I just want to spend a minute to talk about this, to play this video for you. And this video has got a lot of keywords. And if you could quickly, make a note of few keywords, this is something that we will talk about throughout in the presentation. Yeah, and every keyword has a meaning towards it. And every time we run through slides, we will talk about this. Spend a minute on to talk about each of these keywords. Take a look, please.
Bosch Fire Alarm Systems offers a comprehensive portfolio of reliable and future-proof safety systems. From panels and detectors to software solutions to improve operations. Intelligent solutions based on innovative technologies such as AI and smart sensors to reliably alarm only in genuine emergencies. Solutions that also protect your investment by ensuring compatibility across the entire system. Tested beyond requirements and trusted worldwide. From offices and commercial buildings to industry, healthcare, hotels and logistics, our solutions protect people and assets and ensure business continuity. Bosch Fire Alarm Systems. Smarter against fire.
Smarter against fire. And there are a lot of keywords in it. I'm sure you would have made a note of all those keywords, and we will quickly talk about that as well. Yeah. Okay. Um, with our experience with fire systems, we have got an option. I mean, we've got an opportunity to talk to a lot of safety managers, a lot of HSE managers, a lot of team members who are part of, let's say, fire, for example. We have spoken to them across different verticals and industries. Yeah, and this is something that always comes to us. Whenever we go talk to them, they only tell us these four important things, which really means a lot to them, matters a lot to them. So whenever you ask a safety manager of what the four key goals are, this is what comes to his mind to talk about. One, he wants to make sure the people in the building, the assets in the building, and the building itself to be safe and secure. Yeah, and of course, business continuity is very very important. I am sure you guys have come across this topic many a times, because installing fire alarm system is so easy, but to maintain and have to and having it really work for you, without false alarms means a lot. Yeah, and this is something that we promise, that we talk about business continuity whenever we talk about our fire alarm systems. Yeah, minimize risk, and of course complete to a lot of policies that we have. When I say policies, fire alarm industry is governed by a lot of standards. So to say, product standards, let's say installation standards, and of course, the building code that is in the country as well. So you'll have to comply to all these policies, and with our finance system, we tick all the four boxes here. Yeah, we make sure that we live up to your expectation on these four aspects, and we try to help you achieve all these four key goals. I don't know to read the text in this slide, but I'm sure from the picture you understand there's a different fire that that has happened in the pharmaceutical industry in the last decades, for example. Yeah, I'm not here to talk about these four pictures that I see here on the screen, but I want to tell you something. It is very common in India that at least once in 2 weeks, we've been talking about some fire accident anywhere in the country, maybe in the hospitals or somewhere in the production plants, for example. At least once in 2 weeks, it is on the national media, which means it is the accident is really huge, it's really big, that we talk about this in the national media. But there are a lot of fire accidents that doesn't make it to the national media. It probably stays within the local media. The meaning is, we have almost a fire accident every day. Yeah, it is important of we having not just the fire alarm system, but also a good fire protection system in total. Detection, protection, and also suppression is an important aspect. But thanks to the awareness that we have spread in this industry, in this country, I think after 2020, roughly about 2011 and 2010, things have really got better. The industry has become much more professional. The customers have been installing real good fire alarm systems, fire suppression systems, fire protection systems, and frequent audits and the association's help and the experts in fire are making it really nice. Things are getting better. In the coming days, of course, we shouldn't see any such fire accidents in the media, or any such fire accident shouldn't happen in any of our plants. That's something that I would wish that we have in this industry, we have it in this country. Yeah. Right. Now, coming to specific pharma industry, yeah. Why is it different when we talk about fire alarm system for a regular office building or a regular manufacturing site? It's way different than what we talk about fire alarm system in a pharmaceutical industry. So this is slightly different because the buildings, the infrastructure, for example, in the pharmaceutical typically is high ceiling. Yeah, and you got a mixed space, meaning you have a production office and a production plan. Soon after the production plan, next to it you probably have a raw material warehouse, and then you also have the finished good warehouse, and then you probably have an office, admin office next to it. Now it is all together. The ceiling is at different heights. For example, the production plant is normally double height ceilings, and your warehouses, for example, also would be double height. Maybe the office space is not so. Yeah, and the buildings would be half open, half occupied. Some may not be really so well occupied. Yeah, it's different at different times, different places. Yeah, and of course, for your production, you also tend to handle a lot of flammable liquids and gases as part of your production process. Yeah, and dust is a bigger problem in the plant, meaning as part of your production you also have a lot of chemical dust that is in and around the air, and that is to be handled as well, really well. Yeah, and of course your finished products are then getting stored in the warehouses. Yeah, which is again maybe not so flammable, but your raw materials are definitely flammable. And when you really don't take good care of it, then there are chances that this would turn into an explosion. Therefore, you have an environment like an office, a very very simple. Then you probably have a substation, and then you have a manufacturing setup, then you have a formulation space, and then you have a warehouse. Things are different at different places, and therefore it calls for a different fire alarm system, different type of a fire alarm system in all these environments. Lakshmi, if I can call you here, I'm going to show roughly about 12 or 14 different use cases here, and this use cases are nothing but challenges, and with challenges, and then I'm going to talk about solutions. So before I get into that, if we can just quickly talk about those two poll questions.
Yes, can we have the poll on the screens, please? Now we have a second poll on all of your screens. Please take a look at it and do participate in it. I'll read out the poll for all of you. Which are the two most challenging applications in your plant regarding the detection? The options are as follows: admin areas, formulation facilities, clean rooms, warehouses and storage rooms, semi-open areas, specialized production processes, example, gas detection. Please make your choice. The poll will stay on your screens for about 30 seconds. I'll also like to urge all of you to post your questions using the chat box. Our speaker will address the questions one by one after the presentation. Can we have the results of the poll, please? So we have the results. Admin areas have received about 10%. The poll has given us the answers. 10% for admin areas. It's 35% for formulation facilities. Clean rooms have been selected by 27% of our audience. Warehouses and storage rooms is the answer for about 67% of our audience. Semi-open areas have been chosen by 17% of our audience. And 38% of our audience have chosen specialized production processes, example, gas detection. Mr. Rajkumar, I'll hand it over to you if you want to comment anything on this poll.
Actually, do we have another question after this?
Sure,
Or
we can go to our next poll. Can we have the next poll on our screens, please? Our next poll is also on your screen. If any, which is the biggest challenge with your current fire detection system? Your choices are too many false alarms. Second one is difficult maintenance. The third one is lack of protection in outdoor areas. And the fourth one is missing integration with evacuation system. As before, please vote. The poll will stay on your screen for 30 seconds. Can we have the answers, please? The results of this poll are as follows. The first option, that's too many false alarms, have been chosen by 49% of our audience. Difficult maintenance is the choice for about 18% of our audience. Lack of protection in outdoor areas gets 5%. Missing integration with evacuation system is the choice for 28% of our audience. Mr. Rajkumar, do you want to comment on this?
yes, thanks, Lakshmi. I will talk about this as we progress. Thanks, Lakshmi.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, we haven't introduced the product of Bosch yet, yeah, but we still want to do this. We want to talk about the challenge, and then we simply introduce our products then and there. And I'm sure we will address most of your challenges in the next 12 or 13, 14 slides roughly. Yeah. So I'll read the challenge here. Office and administration areas are exposed to an increased fire risk to their proximity to production and storage facilities of pharmaceutical products, which are often highly combustible. So I said this earlier as well. Your buildings are very complex, meaning you have a production plan. Quickly after the production plan, you probably have a warehouse, and next to the warehouse is your office space. Yeah. So now, say suppose if a fire breaks out in the office space, for example, now there are very good chances that this fire could spread to the production area and also to the warehouse in no time. And this is even more riskier, meaning if the fire breaks out in the storage area, or for example in the production plant, yeah, now you've got great systems installed there, but in the office space you normally miss on few things. Yeah. Now if there is a fire that breaks out in the office space, and if that spreads to these areas, then it is also riskier. Now how do we do it? Yeah, what does Bosch have to offer? So Bosch, we have a detector which we call it Avina 4000. Now I'm sure you've heard in the market that this industry has smoke, heat, and multi-sensor. When I say multi-sensor, it's a combination of smoke and heat. Yeah, either you have an option of smoke detectors or a heat detector, and then a combination of smoke and heat. Bosch has all the three to offer, but we want to be slightly different to what the industry does, and this brings a lot of value add to you. Bosch has a special detector called dual ray. It's called Avenar is a family. Within the family, we have a detector called dual ray, which is dual ray optical thermal, which is heat and smoke, and dual ray optical thermal and chemical, which is smoke, heat, and chemical sensor as well. Now, what does it mean? It means, um, yeah, how do I put dual rays better than the traditional detectors? So I saw it in the poll that you had a lot of false alarm in your installations, right? Now, if I can call this dual ray is false alarm resistant. How much? I would probably rate it to 99.99%. Yeah, that's a nice number to have, but it is false alarm resistant. Yeah, which means it's highly reliable. In case of a real fire, it picks up alarm in no time. In case if there's a dust, for example, if there's a dirt, if there's a steam from any of your other processes, for example, this detector can understand what is steam, what is dust, what is dirt, what is cigarette smoke differently, and not react to it as an alarm. Yeah, it stays calm. Yeah, so this detector is highly reliable, at the same time very very fast. The results are this dual detectors can be put in the, you can put it in the office space, and this can detect fire really faster. Yeah, at the same time it does not give you false alarms. So faster and reliable is Aminar dual ray detectors. Yeah. And the next challenge in the formulation process in your plants, yeah, in which different chemical substances are combined to produce a final pharmaceutical product, have high fire and explosion hazards due to combustible dust and flammable liquids. Now what do you do then? The key word here is combustible dust. Yeah, dust is something that you probably cannot live without in the pharmaceutical plant. And I say dust, it is of course the chemical dust I'm talking about. And for example, in a steel plant, then it's a real dust. Yeah. Now here, these two areas, the reason I brought the steel plant and the pharmaceutical is because of the dust. Yeah, it is very tough to have a fire alarm system, which is sort of maintained really well, yeah, on a day-to-day basis. So I'm sure many would accept the fact that fire alarm system, when installed, when I say fire alarm system, the smoke detectors or the multi sensors, after it is installed, it also needs a lot of maintenance. Yeah, to be really nice, it has to work well in the site without any false alarms. Then of course you'll have to clean them often and keep them up to date. Yeah. Now how do you do it? So as part of the maintenance process, probably you do cleaning once in 15 days or once a month, and 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 therefore you upkeep the system. But here we slightly want to be different. Yeah, the difference is this. Yeah, the difference is here. So in the Bosch detector, normally what happens, when you remove the detector from the ceiling, you would probably spray it with a compressed air and then you call it cleaning. Yeah, I mean, when I say you, the system integrators or the industry experts would always blow a compressed air from outside and say it's cleaned. But in our opinion, it is not done really well. So what do we do? When you remove the Bosch detector, just begin the detector, we have a small plug, a rubber plug, which you pull it out. Yeah. Once you pull out the plug, you can actually see the smoke chamber for yourself. And we want you to throw the compressed air from outside, so that you do the cleaning inside out. It will take away all the dust out of the smoke detector, which means what? You probably would need less maintenance. Yeah. And whenever you're doing any maintenance, please be rest assured you're doing a thorough maintenance of cleaning detectors. It is important. Suppose if you don't clean the detectors and if there is dust deposits within the smoke chamber, the detector is intelligent enough to adjust the threshold to a higher level, which means it gets less sensitive. In case of a real fire, it is probably not picking up real fire faster. Yeah. Therefore, to you'll have to keep the detector really clean and nice, so that the sensitivity is maintained. At the same time, detector responds to a real good fire faster. Now, in this case, a chamber-made plug is a mechanical feature, but I take pride in saying this: Bosch is the only manufacturer to offer a plug in every detector that we have, for you to clean it really easy, and that makes a lot of difference. Suppose if you're cleaning detectors once in 15 days, just because you have this plug, and if you're cleaning it from inside out, probably you can clean it once in 30 days now. Yeah, it makes a difference. At the same time, as I said earlier, we do have detectors, which is just not optical smoke. It also is heat. It is also multi-sensor, and multi-sensors with chemical sensor is an option that we do have as part of our portfolio. Yeah. Coming to the third challenge, I'm sure not many would have heard of this, but you would have experienced it for sure. You would not have discovered, you would not have realized that it is because of this. Many pharmaceutical plants struggle with a high number of false alarms due to electromagnetic disturbance values. I'm sure you never heard of this, leading to trouble in operations and a bad plant performance. Yeah. Trust me, not many industry experts also know this. I'll just give you an example. On a weekend, let's say on a Saturday or a Sunday, let's say the system integrator or the service provider cleans all the smoke detectors installed in the premises. They put it back in place, make a maintenance report, get it signed, and they exit the premises. On a Monday, when you resume office, when you resume production, all of a sudden there is a false alarm from one of the detectors. Yeah. And you'll be now puzzled out. I mean, because we just cleaned it last week, and I mean, just one day before we cleaned the detectors, how is there a false alarm now? False alarms need not necessarily be from dirt and dust. It can also be from electromagnetic interferences. Electromagnetic interferences are not seen, but it is experienced by the detector. If I have to call one device very poor in the ceiling of yours, it is the smoke detector. The reason, this is the only device that works on 24 volts DC with few micro milliamperes. The rest of the other devices in your ceiling, for example, you talk about Wi-Fi routers, to electrical cables, to PA system, to lights, to whatnot, to your machinery, everything works at AC 230 volts or three phase 440 volts or whatever. Yeah, this is the only device that works at 24 volts DC, which means what? This is subjected to a lot of electromagnetic interference in and around by a lot of other machinery in your plant. And therefore, if not today, 2 years or 3 years or 4 years down the line, this detector will start giving you false alarms because of electromagnetic interference. So electromagnetic interference is something that we have not, you guys have not seen it for yourself, but this is definitely there, and that's affecting our detectors, right? Now, what do we do differently in Bosch? Of course, again, I take pride in saying this. Bosch is the only manufacturer to offer a e-smoke feature that you see here in all our detectors. In all the detectors that you buy, it's a standard feature, which means what? The detector which gets installed today, it is able to read the interference in the room and report the value to the panel real time live. Now, let's say it's installed, and after the 90th day, when you come to the site, the system will now give you two reports, which is the current value of interference plus the average interference value over the last 90 days. Yeah, which means what? The system, the panel looks after the interference of all the detectors in and around installed within the panel network. Yeah, point one. Now, for example, this is installed, handed over to you, let's say third year down the line, for example, for whatever reasons you feel that the light in this room is not enough, you want to have additional lamps, and you're trying to pull a fire cable, sorry, electrical cable next to a smoke detector, which is not allowed by standards. Let's say for whatever reasons, because you don't have an option, you're running a power cable next to the smoke detector. If there is interference, this smoke detector will quickly send a value to the panel saying, yesterday's value was so much and today the value is this much, which means the value has jumped and it is not good for the detector to be working there. Now, what is expected is when there's a warning appearing on the fire alarm panel, as a fire technician, as a fire system operator, the operator is expected to make sure that the detector is free from interference. Therefore, it can work with the panel for the customer for many years to come. Yeah, if it is exposed to continuous interference, obviously in 1 year or 2 years down the line, on one day it's going to give off, and you may not know the reason why this has gone faulty or whatever. Yeah, so the point here is electromagnetic interference is a big topic, but it is never spoken because it is not seen. That's it. But this affects the system and the detectors in a bigger way, and Bosch has addressed it somewhere in 2018, if not 2017 or 18, if I'm not wrong. And this has become a standard feature of all our detectors today. Looking at the time, I'm just quickly wanting to run slides. Machinery and equipment in quality control labs and R&D areas are typically of very high value and therefore need reliable protection, but the rules regarding dust and dirt are very strict in these areas. This picture on the right looks like a clean room. Now, in a clean room, when you install a regular smoke detector, it means it needs a lot of maintenance, as I said it in the earlier slides. Yeah. Now, when it comes to regular smoke detectors, if this has to be cleaned, for example, let's say your lab is getting fumigated, for example, or you may have to let me inside to clean the detectors, and I'm sure you're not happy letting me in or probably cleaning the detectors. Now, how do we do it? Bosch has an option called invisible detectors, which I'm going to show you later. It is flush mount, ultra flush mount detectors. Yeah, it is probably just like a light, for example, in your ceiling, or it is just like a speaker, for example, in your ceiling. It is flush mount. How does it work? It does the work. This detector has roughly about 8 watts and so many patents now for this product, and we launched this in 2004, so it's almost a 20-year-old product that we're talking about. So this invisible detector finds application especially in two areas, which is clean rooms and pharmaceutical, and then operation theaters in hospitals. Two critical areas. This definitely would be required. You will see it in some time. Now we are again talking about clean rooms. Yeah, we are talking about clean rooms. Again, in clean rooms, invisible fire detectors can be a great option. You see, look at the lights here, yeah, and you look at the detector here on the ceiling. So here, I mean, I'm not too sure how many can see this, yeah, but this detector is not preferred by customers today. The reason is this definitely needs cleaning in a clean room like this. If I have to clean this, then of course, I'm going to throw some compressed air and things like that, and that could affect uh, the room itself. So how does the invisible detector look? It would look like a light. I mean, flush mount, just like the light. It will be flush mounted. So, and the most important thing is the surface of the invisible detector is sort of dirt repellent and dust repellent. So dust doesn't settle on it. In case if it is dirty, the cleaning would be so easy. All that you would need is just wipe off the face of the detector, and that's the cleaning it would need. Nothing else. In case if you're not okay with an invisible detector for whatever reasons, can we be a bit more smarter? Yes. Bosch also has a product called Aviotech. which is video based fire detection. You install a camera in the corner of the room, yeah, and this camera detects smoke and also flame, and does it really fast. Yeah, it is faster than any other traditional detectors. Meaning, suppose a flame detection would happen roughly in about, let's say, about 10 seconds, and a smoke detection in roughly about 16 to 18, 20 seconds roughly. Yeah, based on the smoke, but it does that really, really fast as compared to the traditional detectors. So, and again, Aviotech is like fit and forget. You don't need maintenance for this. There's no maintenance for an Aviotech detector, except that you might probably need to clean the optics or the lens once in few months or something like that. But otherwise, Aviotech is again a fit and forget product. You don't need maintenance for this. Likewise, invisible detector also is a fit and forget. You don't need maintenance for this as well. Yeah. The next challenge is your warehouses. Yeah, either finished good or let's say raw materials. It's typically high ceiling. Yeah. Now what do we do? How do we detect fire faster here? You got the traditional options, which is the beam detectors. A beam detector, on one side you have a transmitter, the other side you have a receiver. A transmitter is transmitting a invisible beam to the receiver. In case of any fire, the smoke goes up to the ceiling and smoke cuts the beam, and beam detector picks up an alarm. Traditional way of how it works. We do have it to offer, yes. Now, the next best way is to offer as aspiration smoke detector. How does it work? It's a box installed in the corner of the room with a fan, with a high power detector, yeah, highly powerful detector. And then you have a PVC tube that connects the detector to the room on the ceiling, and this pipe is drilled with smaller openings. So what are we doing? We're trying to suck the air from the room and sample this in the detector, within the detector. Yeah, and in case of any smoke, then the detector picks up an alarm really fast. This is nice. Aspiration is nice. Can we have something better? And of course, again, introducing you Aviotech. Aviotech is Bosch video based fire detection camera. It's a normal video camera installed in the corner of the room to detect smoke and flame, especially for high ceiling applications. It does fire detection really, really quick and fast. You'll see it in the coming slides, the picture of the product. Now look at this picture. This picture, sort of a semi storage area, right? Can you think of a fire alarm system for this? Can you think of a fire detector for this? Yeah, not many traditional systems can be used here because there is so much wind. Smoke cannot stay there. Smoke would be taken away by the wind, for example. So detectors would not even detect smoke when you put it on the ceiling. Yeah, then what do we do? What do we do? Aviotech, the video-based fire detection system, can do the job for a semi-outdoor application. Yeah, put this camera on the ceiling or on the wall. It detects flame and smoke really quick. Yeah, so Aviotech is both indoor and also an outdoor device. Yeah, it can be used for a semi-outdoor application for now. Next challenge. Some areas, maybe your raw material warehouse, let's say, have a high risk of explosions due to the materials used and the processes performed. What do we have? Bosch has to offer. We have the explosion proof smoke heat multi sensor, and also we have explosion proof flame detectors and explosion proof manual call points to pick up smoke and in areas which are classified, let's say zone 2 for example. In all these areas you may go for an X proof device, and Bosch has it to offer. We have it as part of our portfolio to give it to you. Yeah, carbon monoxide gas might be discharged during the process, and then it puts the life of the staff in danger. Yeah, we know this. Carbon monoxide is odorless, yeah, and it is harmful as well. Can we detect it? Yes. Do you need a special detector? The answer is no. The Bosch multi-sensor that we talked about, which is optical, thermal, and the chemical sensor, yeah, has a CO sensor inbuilt, which is good enough to detect CO within the room. If there is a leakage of CO, for example, this detector can pick up that as well and report an alarm. Yeah, possible. So in few areas within the pharmaceutical plant, some areas you might need some specific detectors where you don't want to, where the detector should not start an ignition due to hazardous gases or chemical dust. You need detectors which are intrinsically safe. Yeah. This is something that we do not have to offer. Bosch doesn't have an intrinsically safe detector to offer, but a lot of our channel partners, they source intrinsically safe detectors from the market, and we do have an option to integrate them to the fire alarm panel of Bosch. Yeah. Say suppose you need an intrinsically safe detector, but not an X-proof. X-proof is something that Bosch has to offer. But in case if you only need an intrinsically safe, we can source it from the market, and then we have a special module we call the CZIM, and through this module it integrates with the fire alarm panel seamlessly. Yeah, and therefore any of your applications, any of your labs, if you need an intrinsically safe, it can very well be connected to the Bosch same fire alarm system as well. Yeah, another question. Now, this is something that we have experienced in India when we did a lot of pharmaceutical plants. when you go to a new plant, for example, it is built. Let's say, for example, 4 to 5 buildings are built now, and they buy a fire alarm system which is very well installed and handed over. But 2 years down the line, they will go for an additional warehouse or they go for an additional plant. Now, after 2 years, when you buy another system from the market, there are very good chances that the new system is not. There is no. I mean, there's less possibility of new system getting integrated with the old system. Yeah, the reason being, backward compatibility is something that not many players would talk about, but Bosch is something that we keep talking about this very often. Backwards and upwards compatibility. Meaning, if I just quickly give you one example, a fire alarm system that is installed by Bosch in 2005 can very well be connected to the existing fire alarm system of Bosch today. Yeah, that we call this backward compatibility. A customer who has a system that is bought in 2005, and if they're buying a product from us today, this system can very well be integrated with the system that was bought in 2005. We're talking about backwards compatibility. Yeah. Now, let's say a customer wants to buy a detector which would be launched in 2030, but still wants to connect that new detector to the existing panel of to the panel that was supplied in 2023. Is that a possibility? The answer is yes as well. So Bosch, whenever we launch a product, we make sure that it is backwards compatible and it is also forward compatible as well. So we please be rest assured that the system that you buy would be of use to you even after 10 years or 15 years. Yeah, I talked about an example of 2005 and 2023, close to 20 years now already. This example, I mean, this question, of course, many have asked me, especially in the pharmaceutical industry. The plant is always in a remote area outside the city. When I say this, most of the channel partners, most of the OEMs, most of the industry players are present in the city. Now, if you have to ask them for some support in terms of maintenance or in terms of let's say, troubleshooting, and if it has to be really quick, the many a times, when it comes to plants like pharmaceutical, it is always not really quick. It takes some time. The reason, someone has to come from a city to a outside the city area, or probably to a rural area, to address this. Now, can we do it slightly differently in the case of Bosch? Yes, Bosch has something called as remote services. So a fire alarm system installed in your premises can be connected to the Bosch cloud. And I'm in Bangalore. If I have to connect to your system and troubleshoot this, I can do it myself. Yeah. Now, if I have to do a maintenance, let's say we agreed to do a maintenance this Saturday. Yeah. Now, before I come, I would log into the remote services of Bosch, go through the go through the cloud, yeah, understand the problems in your system, and I get prepared with whatever I have to carry from Bangalore, for example. I come to your site, troubleshoot the entire system, put it back in place, and also fill the entire report on an iPad, for example. And people, whoever is connected to the fire alarm system, let's say the end user, the facility manager, let's say the MD of the company, for example, uh, I as a system integrator, and let's say the OEM has to get involved as well. All of us can get a report of what has happened in the site. Yeah, and this is a living document. I've done a document today. Now, let's say I've come after 1 month for a regular maintenance, or I come after 3 months, for example. Then this document can always be referred. So, which means I can remotely connect and troubleshoot a system in case if you have a problems without the need of me visiting the site. That is one. Second, in case if I have to do a maintenance activity, I can come prepared with whatever is required, and I can do this in no time, and everyone connected gets a report of it. Yeah, at the same time, you also would get an SMS or an email alert of what has happened. Maybe trouble, maybe fire. It comes to you as SMS, it comes to you as email. Or if you want to have it in an app, for example, Bosch also has an app called Remote Interact. You get all the notifications of the fire alarm system on the app, be it iOS or Android as well. Yeah, and this remote services is something not new that we're talking. This again was launched somewhere in 2019, if I'm not wrong, and we've done a lot of installations in India with remote services as well. Yeah. So how Bosch can be different to your needs? Yeah. So Bosch, we talked about this product called Avenar. Yeah. Avenar is one product that we sell across the globe. It's the fire alarm system that we call it as, and this is a product that we sell across the globe. Yeah. Bosch doesn't have a second portfolio to sell, which means what? Rest be assured that you're buying the best of products from us. Yeah. And this product is completely modular. Yeah, modular meaning you have, let's say, a cafeteria which where you need a one loop panel. Avenar 8000 can be customized as a one loop panel to be offered. Yeah. Now you have a big plant which calls for, let's say, 20 loop panel. Avenar 8000 with the 20 loop panel is a possibility. It's a modular system. So smaller setups to a bigger large factories, Bosch Avenar 8000 can be your solution. Yeah. And we talked about 100 years of experience. So I want to tell you this. We have a customer, for example, if I can quote their name here, Shobha Developers, now which is a residential a builder, for example, in South. Yeah, they've been buying our systems for 10 long years, and JSW Steel Plant, they've been buying our systems for 15 years now. Yeah, so that's the kind of reliability that we give them in terms of how do we handle false alarms. Yeah, really nice. And remote services, which is the futuristic solutions. When I say additional remote services, it looks like remote services to you, but to make it nice, to talk about the smart buildings, to talk about Internet of Things, IoT. Remote services is an IoT thing. Yeah, a file alarm system connected to the cloud. You get to see. I mean, of course, you have not seen it in the demo, but whenever you're here, whenever I'm there in your office, we can do this. You get to see a multi-sensor installed in your lab on the cloud, on the website. You would be able to read the temperature of that detector in that room. Yeah, and you'll also be able to read the analog values and the interference values of that detector in that portal. Yeah, so we take things to the next level, futuristic solutions, and that is why we think we're always better than the rest in terms of being modular, reliable, and also very futuristic as far as solutions is concerned. Yeah, we got everything here in the slide that you see here. This is a schematic. You can be as cumbersome as this. A file alarm panel. Yeah, you talk about the invisible detectors, aspiration systems, video-based camera, invisible detector again, all-in-one sounders, public address system, remote services, yeah, repeater panels. Yeah, you talk about Bosch has everything to offer. In short, I want to tell you that we've got everything in this slide to offer from us. Our portfolio is really big and we can do it. Yeah. Yeah, quickly talking about the panel, we call this Avenar. We have two products, Avenar 8000 and 2000. 2000 is a one loop panel expandable up to 4. Avenar 8000 is a one loop panel expandable up to 32. Yeah, just to give you a summary of this, the industry average is roughly about 12 loop panel, and Bosch can already do 32 loops. Yeah. Now you talk about redundancy. Say suppose this is a controller. Now in case if this controller fails, what happens to the file alarm system could be a question. Bosch can offer you controller redundancy. Can we offer loop redundancy? Yes. Can we offer power supply redundancy? Yes. Can we offer networking redundancy? The answer is yes. Yeah. You demand and we have a solution to give you. Yes. And then this is the detector that we talked about, the Avena series 4000 series detectors. This is how it looks like. Yeah. Now all the Bosch detectors would look like this. And if I have to say something, this detector has an inbuilt processor, and this processor has 5000 fire patterns. 100 years of our research, we understand different fires differently. Paper fire, plastic fire, chemical fire, oil fire are different. Let's say, for example, agabatti smoke, steam coming out of the kitchen, for example, or as part of your process. Yeah, they're very different, but they look like smoke. Can this detector handle all this? Yes. This detector has been trained with 5000 fire patterns to understand fire really fast, and also understands how to handle false alarms better as well at the same time. And this also has the feature of e-smog in terms of reading the interference in and around the detector. The very popular invisible detector. Yeah, this is the regular detector which protrudes out of the ceiling, and this is a detector which we're talking about, which is flush mount. Yeah, it's flush mount, and all that you need is cleaning is like this. The surface that you see here is dirt repellent surface. Of course, it doesn't attract dust. Yeah, in case if it's dirty or dusty, there is a sensor here in the center of the detector which calls for maintenance, and if there is a maintenance that is called, then cleaning is just this. You'll have to take a piece of cloth, wipe it off, and that's the maintenance that would be required. Yeah. Now you also understand that we can give you detectors of different colors. So this detector, as I rightly said, it is for clean rooms in a pharmaceutical plant. But at the same time, let's say you have a nice looking room. Aesthetically, you want a detector that should look nice. You can buy this detector and you ask for color: blue, green, red, yellow, yeah, whatever color, or you have your own color scheme. Please give us. We print some 3 screens and we put it in the detector, and this detector gets camouflaged in the ceiling, and then you don't see it at all. Yeah, and that's why this gets a name called invisible detectors. Another nice product from us, recently launched, we call this Avenar all-in-one. What does it mean? A sounder, a sounder, a flasher, and then a detector, all three in one. Yeah. Now, what is the specialty of this? The specialty is, of course, all-in-one is again a new thing in the industry. But the reason it is so special is because it has a battery which is lithium-ion battery, yeah, which is good to work for 10 long years, and it doesn't draw for it to work. Let's say in case of an alarm, for the strobe to work, or for the flasher to work, or for the sounder to work, it doesn't draw any power from the fire alarm panel. It takes power from the lithium-ion battery itself. Yeah, and therefore we call this loop-powered sounders, and it also can have up to, I mean, you can also have up to 125 devices in a loop. It's a breakthrough. The reason is whenever you call a loop forward device, yeah, the problem is you cannot have more than 10 in a loop because it takes a lot of power and it brings down the, the current in the loop, and therefore you cannot travel distance. Whereas with this kind of detector, that's the answer that you get. 125 devices in a loop is a possibility, which means you can cover a lot of smaller rooms in the factory, yeah, to be installed with a detector, sounder, and a flasher. Just go for it. Possible. And then aspiration system that we talked about, in one of the examples of warehouses, we said there is a box installed with the, there is a fan within. A PVC tube connects to this aspiration box, and the PVC tube is drilled with openings. So this fan sucks the air. Now, what is special? Every other player in the industry has it, but what is special about this? This is a direct addressable device, which means it is part of the loop, and the entire system is programmable from the fire alarm system only. So whatever happens in the aspiration system is seen in the fire alarm panel, which is not the case with few players or many players in the industry. Yeah. Linear heat detectors. Say suppose you have a cable gallery running from the production area to the control room. You have a cable tray or a trench, for example, and the cables have to be monitored. This linear heat detectors can do the job, which this gets installed outside somewhere, and there is a linear heat sensing cable that is run along with the power cable or in the cable tray. In case if some cable gets punctured and then there's a short circuit, this can pick up the heat and report an alarm really fast. Yeah, that again we have an option. And then beam sensors that we talked about for the warehouse, we have beam sensors of different kinds, and Bosch can give you options as well. 100 meters, one side, fixed detector, transmitter and receiver, and the other side is a prism. Or you want to have detector transmitter, which is also motorized, where you want to control the entire thing from the bottom, from the floor, for example. That's possible as well. Yeah. X-proof portfolio in your zone 2 areas. If you need an explosion-proof multi-sensor or a flame detector or a manual call point, again, Bosch has to offer. We do have solutions of that kind as well. Yes, the most interesting product, 2017-18 launch. This is already the one that you see here in the picture is the second generation camera, which we officially launched it last week. Yeah. This camera does the job of fire detection, both smoke and flame, and the time taken is so less. It is probably the fastest fire detector, smoke detector in the industry today, especially suited for high ceiling applications, maybe warehouses, production areas, production plants. You can go for it, and this detector can do a much better job than an aspiration system or a beam detector. Yeah, and the best thing, you know the real cause of fire because you have this installed. Yeah, so if there's a fire that breaks out, probably you know why and where the fire started. Many a times you probably would deploy a team of people to understand how did the fire break out. But here in this case, when you have a camera installed, of course you have the video feed coming in, and it's getting recorded somewhere else in the CCTV system if required. Or you can put an SD card within the camera keeps recording the video within the camera itself, and this connects to any CCTV system, and this connects to the fire alarm panel at the same time as well, both indoor and also for sheltered outdoor applications. Here we are talking about few references. When I say references in a public forum like this, we do not talk about all our projects. Wherever we received the customer's permission to display, we are only talking about such references here. Yeah, Lupin Pharma is one of the installations in Gujarat that was recently done. Yeah, and I just want to read this for you. Our new fire detection system, that is from the customer. Our new fire detection system relieves our stress levels as we no longer experience excessive false alarms at work. This is from the operations team of Lupin. Yeah, this is robust, durable fire detection system from the maintenance team of Lupin. And ask me how many projects have we done in the pharmaceutical vertical in India. I would probably say close to some 150 plus projects in India is something that we've done. And this is another pharma reference from Germany, from our home. Hexel AG is another reference in Germany. Right. Now, of course, this QR codes that you see here will take you to the Bosch pharmaceutical page, and also would take you to the Bosch portal where you can get to see a lot of brochures of ours. Given the time, 30-40 minutes is what I have spoken. I tried to capture most of it, and most of it was always one way. I did not probably hear questions from you. But you have my contacts here, email ID and my contact number. So you have a requirement, or you probably just want to talk to me on a few things, you can always call me, and then I'm here to support you with the answer that we have. In case if I don't have answers, I would obviously go back and then get some answers for you. But give us an opportunity for us to present our products to see if it fits for your requirement in the future whenever you have it. Lakshmi, thank you so much. You can take it over, Lakshmi.
Thank you, Mr. Rajkumar. That was a great presentation. Now we have an opportunity for the audience to ask our Bosch expert some specific questions about fire detection systems which are tailored for pharma plants. But before I throw open the floor for questions, we would like one more poll to come up on our screens. So here is the poll. I'll read out the poll for all of you. Why did you join the call? The options will be to learn about the fire detection portfolio from Bosch, to learn about new technologies regarding fire detection for pharma plants. Bosch is being considered as a possible manufacturer for a fire alarm system in a new facility or as a replacement for an existing system, to evaluate alternative solutions for fire detection systems, or it was recommended by a peer or a colleague. So these are your options. Please vote. As before, it will be on your screen for 30 seconds. Thank you for voting. The results will help the Bosch team understand your requirements better. I'll now open the floor for questions. We have several questions that have been asked by our audience. I'll take them one by one. Our Bosch expert will answer your questions. So the first question is, how much length has been covered by beam detectors in warehouse areas? Mr. Raj?
Yeah. Um, so, I mean, on an average, today the beam detectors can go up to a distance of a maximum of 120 meters. But you also have beam detectors which can start from a range of 50, 60 meters up to 100, which is the industry average. But there are also beam detectors that can go up to 120 meters maximum. Yeah.
Okay, I hope that covers the question.
Mhm.
And the next question that we have is, do you have detectors and MCPs for zone 1 as well?
Yeah, we do have it. Yes, Bosch
Okay,
has detectors and MCPs for zone one also. Yeah.
right. I'll move on to the next one. How will you calibrate co-sensor,
How do
CO
we calibrate?
sensor,
Sorry,
CO
CO sensor.
sensor?
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I mean, I understand why this question has come up. This is not a standalone CO sensor, so to say. Yeah. Therefore, there is no option to calibrate this CO sensor, but this CO sensor works more like a fire detector as part of our regular multi sensors, which means, when we have a smoke detector, which is optical, thermal, and a chemical all built within one piece. This is called as OTC, optical, thermal, and chemical. So the primary job of this is to detect fire. Yeah. So whenever there's a fire that breaks out, there is also some carbon monoxide that comes out of the as part of the combustion, and that goes to the ceiling much faster than a smoke detector would do. Yeah. And CO sensor within the detector would pick up this really fast, and helps the smoke and the heat sensor to be really quick and fast in terms of detecting fire. And therefore, this is not actually working as a standalone CO sensor. It is working more with the optical and the thermal detector to detect fire, and that's the primary job of a smoke detector, I mean, of this chemical sensor.
Okay, our next question is, are smoke detectors and sprinklers available compatible with the classified area?
uh, can you just read the question one
Do you
more
want me
time,
to
Lakshmi?
repeat the question? Yes. The
Yeah.
question is, are smoke detectors and sprinklers available compatible with classified area?
Sprinklers, Jinesh, do you get this question? Jinesh, do you understand this, Jinesh?
Yeah, Raj, actually, we have only smoke detectors and we don't manufacture the sprinkler.
Sprinklers, yeah,
So
okay.
the fire protection system would be different as compared to fire detection system. So Bosch is only into the fire detection area and we do not have a sprinkler solution available with us.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I hope that answers the question for the audience. Our next question would be, how series 500/520 is different from concealed type detector?
No, 500, 520 is nothing but the concealed detector. That's an invisible
Okay,
detector.
that's
Ultra.
a concealed.
That's a concealed detector. The other one is called Avena 4000, which is a regular smoke detector, which sort of protrudes out of the ceiling. And the one concealed is called 500, 520.
No, Raj, just to add in what you said, if 500 is the series in which we have a conventional as well as addressable solutions available. And
Perfect.
there are
Yeah.
two types. One is the optical type, and second one is optical plus chemical. So there are two model numbers available in invisible detector.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, maybe I think we can spend a minute on this. Yeah, for everyone's benefit here, Bosch has the invisible detector to offer, which we call this ultra flat flush mount detector. Now we have both conventional and also addressable in this. The conventional is 500 and the addressable is called 520. Now, how does conventional help in for the audience here? You will all probably already have an alarm system installed in your premises, but maybe of a different manufacturer. But sometimes, let's say in your setup, you may not want the regular spot detectors, but you want an invisible ultra flush mount detector. Then you can buy the conventional from Bosch and add it to the existing fire alarm system of yours, which is very different, which is not Bosch system but is something else. Yeah, so the conventional allows you to install it with already existing system. So that's a possibility, and therefore you can also you have an option of buying a conventional range of invisible detectors as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll move on to the next question. Do you have a hydrogen fire detector?
No, Bosch doesn't have a hydrogen detector to fire detector to offer. No, but if there's a hydrogen fire detector that is required, then our channel partners, as I rightly said earlier, can source it for you and seamlessly integrate this with the Bosch fire alarm system. That's a possibility.
Okay. Uh, does your system have audit trial and 21 Part 11 compliance? Which data should not be editable? Is the question.
Okay, to be frank, I don't understand what is 21 part 11. I will make a note of this and then I'll come back. But if you ask me, is the data not editable? Of course, the data is not editable. Yeah.
Okay. Does the system integrate with our existing non-Bosch system?
Yeah. Okay. With respect to fire alarm systems, of course, probably, we've not opened up so much. Let's say you already have a fire alarm system from an X manufacturer and you're buying Bosch, for example, now you want to integrate this together. It cannot be seamless. You can still do a hardware integration, but it is definitely not seamless. It's not seamless. Now, how do we do it? How can we do it seamlessly? You may probably have to introduce a software which is in the control room, and this software has the capability of integrating with the existing fire alarm system, which is brand X, for example, and then it can also integrate with Bosch systems. So at the software level, you can have both the systems connected to one platform, but between the systems, within the systems, if you ask for a seamless integration, that does not exist within the industry and also with Bosch.
Okay. Our next question is how to know if the sensor malfunctions.
Of course, yeah. We didn't have the time to display the Bosch screen for you, but in the Bosch screen, it's more like it's a it's a 8.3-inch touchscreen display. Yeah. Now you have a taskbar in the display of Bosch system, like how you have it on your laptop, like the Windows taskbar, and you have an option called status. Yeah. So when you click on this, even before it's confirmed to be a fault, when the system senses there's something going wrong with the detector, for example, a pollution, under the status option, when you click, it gives you that this many detectors are polluted, light pollution, mid pollution, high pollution, or whatever, you will get it there. And if it was a real good fault, then of course it would appear under the fault menu, which also is on the file display as well. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Uh, is there any guideline for installation of video-based fire detection?
Yes, yes, Indian, for example, in India we have IS 2189. It doesn't talk about video-based fire detection for now. It does not talk about that. But yes, there are global standards which talks about video-based fire detection. There is a small mention of video-based fire detection in NFPA, and there is also a mention of video-based fire detection in ISO standards as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Our
not in
next
India. IS 2189 does not talk about it. Yeah.
Right. Moving on to the next question. What is the frequency to clean the sensor?
Okay, in case if it's a Bosch detector, it all depends on the room. Yeah, but I assume it's a pharmaceutical plant, and if you ask me how fast or how frequent we'll have to do it, if because it's a Bosch detector, I would say probably once in 2 months should be a good duration. Yeah, once in a
Okay.
quarter, once in a quarter would still be fine. Yes.
Okay. Which beam detector is applicable in movable compactor area in warehouse?
Yeah, if you have something movable within the warehouse, beam detectors cannot be used. And if that moving thing is coming in the pathway of the beam, then obviously I would not propose a beam detector for this installation. Yeah, but for example, within this warehouse, if you ask me if there's something moving crane or a movable compact area, then I would probably suggest you an Aviotech video-based fire direction as a best option. But if you still insist that we go for a traditional system, then maybe an aspiration system will do the job, but not definitely beam detectors.
Okay, there's a question. How is the false alarm get generated? How does the false alarm get generated?
Okay, how the false alarm get generated? That's the question. Okay, Yeah, false alarm occurs for different reasons. In 2014, there was a study done in the UK, and it tells us how why false alarms happen. So false alarms happen because of dirt and dust primarily. Yeah. Second, it is because of poor insulation. Third, it is because of faulty smoke detectors, and fourth, because of electromagnetic interferences. Now, this is a study that was done. Soon after the study, Bosch looked at this, and then we have corrected all of this slowly. With respect to electromagnetic interferences, Bosch has this e-smog feature to offer. Yeah. And with respect to the dirt and dust, Bosch has the dual ray detector to give you a solution. And we're talking about faulty smoke detectors, and we're talking about poor insulation. The detector these days detectors are intelligent. When I say intelligent, they have a processor within, and I told you it comes with 5,000 fire patterns and has got its own ISP and things like that. So it has a check of how it's working and reports the value to the panel almost real time. So if something is going faulty, it reports a code saying, for example, 00x f5f or something like that. It means there is a meaning to it. Let's say a processor has failed, then the detector reports the detector is faulty because of this processor failure or something like that. Yeah. So you
Okay,
get it in the you can get it in the panel almost real time. Yeah.
right. We'll move on to the next one. What's the area in square meter covered by a video fire detector?
Yeah. Okay. So video-based fire detection camera comes with a very focal lens. Yeah. So it is definitely, you can adjust the focal length of the camera. You can make it look narrow. You can make it look wide. It's up to you and up to the application as such. But given the standard installation, let's say you put it in the corner of the room where it has about 90 degrees coverage, I would say this camera can look roughly about 45 meters, coverage. Yeah. Also to add on, Bosch has a calculator, a video-based fire detection calculator, where suppose you have a drawing. With this drawing, we'll be able to put it inside the calculator and tell you what length it can cover and what is the size of the smoke or fire it can detect at different distances. So this calculator can be useful for you when we plan video-based fire detection for your application. But roughly, to give an answer, with 90 degrees of opening, it can cover 45 meters roughly.
Okay.
Raj, just to add in your answer, the calculator also gives the at what height you will place the camera, whether it's a 3 meter, 4 meter, 5 meter, then how much distance it will cover. So it covers
Perfect. Yeah.
both length, height, and width as well.
Yeah.
Right. We'll move on to the next question. And this question is, can we use these detectors for petroleum storage area like PESO?
Can we use which detector? Video-based fire detection, is it?
These detectors, yeah. So video-based detectors.
I suppose it's video-based fire detection. Okay. I
Can
mean,
I answer,
you
Raj?
asked. Yes, please, Jinesh, please go for it. Yeah.
See, currently we have a first generation camera, which is a normal CC type, CCS type camera. So that particular camera, you can place it in a explosion proof housing, depending upon your requirement, whether it's a 2A, 2B classification, and then you can do the solution. And the current camera, which has a inbuilt IR with IP67 housing, so that's only for outdoor. So we have to customize the solution for a petroleum tank area with the help of a external X-proof housing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question is, what's the maintenance procedure for fire alarm systems?
What is the maintenance procedure for the fire alarm systems? Of course, yeah. Um, I mean, if you talk about the maintenance procedure, I mean, this is something that I would like to add on. We use a software called remote programming software to commission a fire alarm system. Yeah, and uh, and of course, the programming software has got a lot of knowledge of what is installed, and it has the knowledge of how it is programmed as well. So this software will produce a document, which is also handed over at the time of maintenance. At the time of handover, we also give this document to the customer, which tells you what is the quarterly check that you have to do, what is the annual check that you have to do for the panel and for the detectors. Now, if you ask about detectors, of course, it would need maintenance. Yeah, I mean, in terms of cleaning the detectors is important. With respect to fire alarm, you may have to test the cause and effect matrix, for example, or you may want to check the power supply, the batteries, and things like that. So we have a checklist that is annual quarterly checklist as part of the handover document, which comes from the programming software of Bosch directly to the customer. Yeah.
Okay. Our next question is, video-based fire detection system is certified on which standards and FLP available?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure if we talked about this earlier. Video-based fire detection system. If you ask me if there are standards for this product, not really. There are not standards for video-based fire detection yet, except for ISO. Yeah, there are not video-based fire detection standards. Now, what do we do? Uh, since we come from Germany, Bosch comes from Germany, we have a lab called VDS, which is very popular as well, which is to the which has a standard for fire alarm system, and this detector, this camera that we're talking about, is being tested as against VDS standards, and it is also certified VDS as well at the same time. Yeah,
And FLP currently not available. FLP is flame proof, Raj.
yeah.
So currently we do not have a flame proof camera available. As I said earlier, you can place the normal first generation Aviotech camera in X proof housing to make it flame proof applicable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next question is, there are few areas that need to be washed frequently. Can you suggest a detector for such areas?
Is it okay when they say washed frequently? I understand it's going to be fumigation. Then if it is fumigation, then maybe if it is fumigation, then I would suggest it as invisible detectors for these applications. Invisible detectors, yeah.
Okay. What's the lifespan of detectors?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I mean, we live in India, so I'm not too sure how to answer this question. Um, Yeah, it's electronics. End of the day, fire detectors are nothing but a piece of electronics together. Yeah. So in Germany, it is a norm. It is a standard that you'll have to replace detectors after 7 years, which means eighth year, even if the system is working for you, you tend to change the fire alarm system because the standards would demand such a change. In India, we do not have such a thing. Now, with this, can I tell you that whether we'll have to change detectors once in 10 years? It all depends on the site. It all depends on the customer. um, I've seen our systems which are installed in 2005 even running today without any problems. We have projects like that also, except for one or few detectors. The rest of the most of the system is really good and is going fine. So if I had to give a number, I would say 15 years is something that we should look for a change within the system. Yeah, because things have really changed. Maybe the firmware of the product, maybe the way it works detects fire faster. I think 15 years would be a decent time for you to change it. But India doesn't have a standard for today as of now.
Okay. Going on to the next question. Do these detectors have SIL-like rating, which is based on the probability of failure frequency?
Still rating, okay. No, these detectors does not are not still rated. The detectors that we are talking about are not. Yeah,
Okay. Can we clean detectors with the help of a blower?
yeah. Yes, possible. Yes, we can clean it with a blower. Uh, but again, as I told you, when you I mean, if you can see my hand, when you remove the detector from the ceiling, and if you're trying it to clean it with the blow with you're trying to clean it with the compressed air from outside, you're actually not doing a thorough cleaning. Yeah, it looks like you're sending the dirt dust inside really well inside. Whereas if you can clean from inside, from inside out, which is through the chamber, that's a better way to clean it. And I'm not too sure if in India if you have this, but there are also compressed cans available for cleaning detectors in the marketplace. There are compressed cans which is with clean air that are also available in the market for you to clean detectors also, smoke detectors.
Right. Thank you. Moving on to the next question. Does it require a UPS power supply?
Um, I mean, I'm sure most of the pharmaceutical plants today they do work on raw power, but at the same time they also have a UPS power supply installed within the plant. So that is good enough because the reason the fire alarm panel that we offer also works with the main power, but also has a battery inside, which also works with the secondary power supply in case if there's a failure in the mains. Now, in your case, you already have a UPS for the entire plant. If that power is given to the fire alarm panel, in case of a failure of UPS, you still have the batteries to work for you. And therefore, I wouldn't say that you'll have to have a separate UPS for the fire alarm system per se.
Okay, I'll read out the next one. Can Bosch fire alarm system take integration of gas detector like hydrogen in the battery storage area?
Yes,
Yes.
I said this earlier. We have a module called CZIM, the Conventional Zone Interface module. This allows you to integrate any third-party detector onto the Bosch fire alarm system really well. Yeah, that's possible.
How many maximum detectors are there in one loop?
Yeah, that's a good question, very relevant to the industry that we are in. So, the moment you talk about fire alarm systems, the first question that you would always encounter from customers is, how many detectors can you connect in one loop? So, the answer is 254 detectors or devices in any combination is a possibility in Bosch fire alarm systems.
Okay, how to prevent
And
254.
and and with inbuilt isolator also in each and every detector and devices.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a nice thing.
right? How to prevent detectors from dust particles?
How to prevent? There's no way.
Detectors from dust particles.
No,
There's no
if you
way.
cover the detector with a cover, then it will not detect. So it's not possible.
Not possible. Yeah, you have to clean this once in 45 days or once in 3 months. But there's no way that you can stop you know uh,
That
stop it
that
from
that's
getting
possible.
polluted. Yeah.
Right. A similar question: we're facing problem in clean room detectors during fogging and fumigation. How to resolve it
As I
in
told you, the
visible
traditional
detectors?
detectors will definitely have a problem with fumigation. Yeah, the traditional detectors. In such cases, the only option is if you're fumigating the place, I would say that you'll have to probably close the existing traditional detectors with a cap thing, and then fumigate the place, and then after that remove those caps as well. That's a way to do it. But otherwise, invisible detector from Bosch would be a better option.
Right. Just the final two questions. What is it solution for document room fire safety?
What is the
What's the
document room?
solution for document room fire safety?
Like Raj, a document storage room. Uh,
Okay.
uh,
Uh-huh.
okay. So now, generally, we propose a aspiration solution for those applications.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's simple papers lying there in the document room, if that is my understanding, yeah, I would say a Bosch DOTC, which is called the dual ray optical thermal chemical, will do the job. But if you want to have a much more faster detection, let's say, then you can go for an aspiration system for this room. Yeah. But if it is a regular document that you're going to store and you need something better than the traditional detectors, then a dual ray optical thermal chemical from Bosch, can do the job. DOTCO is the detector, and that is good enough for this place.
Okay, that's all the time we have for today. So all the other discussions can happen offline. I'll now request the speaker to give his concluding remarks.
Yeah, and I'll want Jignesh to take it up. Jignesh?
Yeah. Thanks, the participants, for joining this presentation on the real challenges which you guys are facing in the pharmaceutical plant. And I believe my colleague Rajkumar has addressed most of the queries, and he has also provided the solution from his side. But if you have any unanswered question from your side, please write it to Rajkumar, because he has already shared his email address and mobile number with you, and we will answer those questions ASAP, and we will also send you the presentation as well. Thank you for joining this call.
Yeah, so from my side, many thanks to all the participants taking time out on a Thursday from your busy schedule and during the working hours means a lot to us. Thank you so much for taking time out. And 30-40 minutes, of course, is not good enough for us to deliver whatever we have. We are here to answer, take your calls, and come to your place, talk to you on the products in much more detailed way. And please do feel free. We have a team across the country on almost all states, I would say. So please feel free to get in touch with me, and I'll be able to connect you to the right person in the right place, and we can take it up after that. Thank you so much.
That's all the time we have for today. We appreciate your participation and engagement in our webinar on fire detection solutions for pharma manufacturing plants. A special thanks to our Bosch experts for sharing valuable insights. This webinar is brought to you by Bosch. If you have more questions or require additional information, please feel free to contact our Bosch team. Thank you for your time, and we are sure that the insights will be of great value to you. Thank you once again. This is Lakshmi Priya signing off. We hope to see you in our future webinars too. Thank you so much.